Right then, welcome back, or perhaps welcome for the very first time. If you're enjoying this little journey, do give us a like and hit that subscribe button. It really helps us keep these stories coming. And tell me, where are you tuning in from today and what time is it for you? Because where we're going, the clock reads, the year is 1878. You're in London, but not the bustling, gaslit streets you might imagine from a postcard. No, you find yourself at the very edge of the city, where the grand houses begin to give way to something altogether different, something grittier, yet still infused with a peculiar kind of ambition. And the first thing that hits you, even before you truly open your eyes, is the smell. A deep, acrid, almost physical presence of coal smoke. It clings to everything, a heavy blanket woven from damp air and industrial grime. You can taste it sharp and metallic on the back of your tongue, even as you pull a threadbare collar tighter around your neck, a futile attempt to keep the cold at bay. You're moving, trudging, your boots crunching on wet cobblestones that glisten with a greasy sheen under the faint, diffused light struggling to pierce the perpetual grey. Your breath mists in front of you, a tiny, fleeting cloud in the chill morning air. You push a weary hand through your hair, feeling the grit of the city already settled there, a fine dust that seems to work its way into every fibre of your being. Each step is a dull thud, a rhythm of survival. You pass shadowy figures hunched against the cold, their faces obscured by caps pulled low by the ever-present pall of smoke. No one meets your eye. Everyone is in their own world, driven forward by the unseen hand of necessity. The air is thick, stifling despite the biting cold. It's a weight on your chest, making each inhale a conscious effort, a fight for clean air that isn't quite there. Then through the haze, something shifts. A faint glimmer, an almost impossible brightness draws your gaze. It's not the harsh, flickering glow of a gas lamp, nor the distant, smudged sun attempting to break through the cloud cover. No, this is different. It's a soft, radiant luminescence, a warm, inviting beacon cutting through the oppressive gloom, painting the otherwise monochromatic surroundings with a hopeful wash. You find yourself quickening your pace, a strange pull tugging at you, a curiosity kindled against the backdrop of an otherwise indifferent morning. As you get closer, the light resolves, taking shape. It's an enormous, intricate structure of glass and iron, rising like a jewel from the industrial murk, its panes reflecting the muted light in a mesmerizing dance. Steam curls gently from vents nearby, adding to the ethereal atmosphere, making it seem almost alive. But inside you can see movement, shapes, colors, a lushness utterly at odds with the outside world. It's a vibrant, impossible green, a burst of life that feels like a dream taking form. You reach out almost instinctively towards the shimmering pane, your cold fingers brushing against the surprisingly warm glass. You stand there, a breath held, a silent question in your mind. How can such delicate beauty exist, so utterly protected, yet so undeniably present amid such unforgiving grit and grime? It makes you wonder about the barriers we build, the worlds we create, and the fragile, persistent hope that keeps pushing through the darkness, seeking its own patch of light. The warmth radiating from the glass against your fingertips is utterly unexpected. It's a gentle heat, a stark, comforting contrast to the biting cold that has permeated your skin for hours. You lean closer, pressing the flat of your palm against the enormous pane, feeling the subtle vibration of the structure, the faint hum of machinery somewhere deep within. The glass, though thick and seemingly robust, isn't entirely clear. A delicate tracery of frost, like a miniature, intricate fern forest, sprawls across its surface, obscuring your view of the verdant world inside. You strain, your breath clouding the glass further as you try to peer through the frosted veil. What you see is a tantalizing blur of shapes and colors. Hues of emerald and jade mingle with splashes of crimson and gold, all softened, made ethereal by the crystalline patterns on the pane. You can just make out the suggestion of towering palms, their fronds brushing against the vaulted ceiling, and the delicate curl of exotic blooms you've only ever seen illustrated in dusty books. The air outside bites at your exposed skin, urging you to retreat, but the allure of that hidden warmth, that vibrant, impossible life holds you rooted to the spot. A shiver runs through you, not entirely from the cold. It's a different kind of sensation, a prickle of fascination and a longing to step across that threshold. Your gaze travels along the elegant, sweeping curves of the iron framework, an impressive feat of engineering that holds this glass behemoth together. Each rivet, each joining speaks of meticulous planning, of an almost artistic precision. It's a colossal blueprint made real, stretched across the sky. Instinctively, your cold finger lifts from the warm glass and begins to trace a line across the condensation your breath has left. You follow the invisible curve of an imagined archway, mirroring the grand designs you can faintly perceive. Then you sketch a rapid, angular line, perhaps the edge of a vast, unseen pool or the sharp, geometric outline of a rare plant's leaf. You don't think about what you're drawing, your hand simply moves, guided by the whispers of possibility, by the sheer audacity of this place. The frosty patterns on the glass seem to twist and distort around your own fleeting marks, merging your spontaneous design with the grand, frozen artistry of nature itself. A sudden gust of wind whips around the corner, rattling a loose pane somewhere above, and you flinch, the spell momentarily broken. You pull your hand back, leaving your ephemeral marks to slowly evaporate, taking your fleeting designs with them. You glance around, a quick, almost guilty survey. No one seems to have noticed your moment of quiet absorption. The other figures on the street continue their determined march, their heads down, oblivious to the shimmering wonder beside them. Standing here, cold and isolated by the grey expanse of London, you realize that there's a quiet power in merely observing, in letting a grand vision inspire your own small, fleeting attempts at creation. This monumental structure, a triumph of human ingenuity against the elements, makes you consider the invisible, intangible blueprints we all carry within us, waiting for the right moment, the right warmth to take shape and unfurl. It's a reminder that even in the most unforgiving environments, beauty and the dream of it can persist. The first thing that assaults you is the sound. It's not just loud, it's a physical force, a relentless, deafening roar that rattles your very bones. You feel it in your teeth, a deep, resonant thrum that penetrates every part of you, making coherent thought a struggle. It's the cacophony of metal on metal, the monstrous exhalation of furnaces, the rhythmic, thunderous clang of hammers on iron, an overwhelming symphony of raw industrial power. You instinctively wince, pressing your hands to your ears, but it does little to diminish the sheer sonic assault. The air vibrates around you, thick and hot, laced with the acrid metallic tang of burning coal and molten ore. You're not merely hearing it, you are asterisk inside asterisk it. Every surface seems to shimmer with the intense heat. Sweat springs to your forehead immediately, stinging your eyes as you try to adjust to the dim, smoky light punctuated by blinding bursts of orange and white. Towering machinery, colossal and menacing, looms around you, their gears grinding, pistons hissing, mechanisms groaning under immense strain. Shadows dance and stretch, distorted and monstrous, across grimy brick walls that seem to weep soot. Through the haze, you glimpse figures moving with a practiced, almost ritualistic urgency. They are dark silhouettes against the incandescent glow of the crucibles. Faces streaked with grime and sweat, muscles straining, they move with a focused intensity, oblivious to the inferno they command. One man, his face a grim mask, hauls a heavy ladle, its contents a river of liquid fire, glowing brighter than any sunset you've ever seen. The air crackles with energy, a palpable tension as the molten metal pours, hissing and spitting, into vast sand molds. Each spill sends up a shower of brilliant sparks, transient galaxies born and dying in an instant, showering down like aggressive, red-hot rain. You flinch, stepping back instinctively, feeling the intense heat wash over your skin, a burning breath against your face. The ground beneath your heavy boots is uneven, littered with shards of slag and discarded metal, warm to the touch. You navigate cautiously, your eyes darting, trying to follow the flow of activity, the dangerous dance of men and machines. You see massive lengths of iron, still glowing a sullen red, being hoisted by chains that groan under their immense weight, then slowly lowered onto colossal anvils where blacksmiths, stripped to the waist, bring down hammers with astonishing force, shaping the stubborn metal with deafening blows. Each strike sends shockwaves through the very ground. You realize with a sudden, jarring clarity that this brutal, primal dance is what forges the delicate, elegant framework of the conservatory you glimpsed earlier. The precise, intricate curves of iron that will support thousands of panes of glass, that will hold a garden of dreams, are born here, in this searing, cacophonous crucible. The sheer contrast is staggering, the raw, uncontrolled power of this place, yielding to the meticulous, deliberate craftsmanship required for something so beautiful and refined. It's a powerful testament to the hidden labor, the sweat, and the unyielding strength required to manifest even the most ethereal of visions. You stand there, dwarfed by the scale of it all, feeling the immense weight of human endeavor, both destructive and creative, echoing in your chest long after the last clang fades into the general roar. A sudden, biting gust of wind whips through the narrow lane, carrying with it a fine, chilling spray. The insistent, rhythmic patter of rain against stone and metal replaces the foundry's roar, a softer yet pervasive sound that wraps around you. You pull your collar higher, hunching your shoulders as you step out from the cavernous warmth of the building, the heat of the forge still lingering on your skin, now battling the raw dampness of the London afternoon. The air is heavy with the scent of wet earth and rusted iron, a sharper, cleaner tang than the acrid smoke you just left behind. Large, cold drops immediately begin to prickle your face, tracing icy paths down your cheeks. You wipe them away with a gloved hand, feeling the chill seep into the fabric. The sky overhead is a bruised, uniform grey hanging low and oppressive, promising more rain. Puddles reflect the muted light, broken into shimmering fragments by the continuous downpour. Each drop hitting the ground sends up a tiny, transient splash, a myriad of miniature explosions. Your gaze falls upon a stack of newly forged girders, colossal lengths of iron piled neatly beside the muddy track. They are slick with rain, gleaming black and unforgiving under the dull light. They stand as silent, imposing sentinels, fresh from the furnace, now cooling in the relentless elements. You walk towards one, your boots squelching slightly in the soft mud, and reach out almost involuntarily. Your fingers brush against the cold, hard surface of the iron. The chill immediately seeps through your glove, and you can feel the distinct texture of the metal, rough, almost granular in places, yet undeniably smooth where the rain has polished it. Water cascades down the girder's length, tracing dark, gleaming rivulets that run over the prominent, sturdy rivets securing its various plates. Each rivet head feels robust and unyielding, a testament to the immense force that hammered it into place. You press your palm against the flat, broad side, feeling the sheer density, the profound weight of it. It's a solid, unmoving mass, a world away from the fluid, fiery metal you witnessed just moments ago. The rain continues its steady drumming, muffling all other sounds. You trace a finger along a seam, feeling the precise, almost surgical line where two pieces of iron have been joined with brutal strength and skill. This isn't just raw material, it's a component, a segment of a larger design waiting for its place. You stand there for a moment, letting the cold seep into your bones, feeling the rain run down your face, indistinguishable from the sweat that still clings from the heat of the foundry. There's a silent, undeniable power in the sheer, unyielding nature of this metal. It has endured the furnace, the hammer, and now it stands, stoic and resolute, against the cold, soaking rain. It makes you realize the profound journey of these materials, from fiery chaos to cool, ordered strength, enduring everything the world throws at them, all in service of holding up a dream. It's a quiet strength, a steadfast resilience that mirrors the human spirit, isn't it? The ability to withstand the harshest conditions, to be shaped, and yet remain fundamentally unbroken. The first thing you notice is the sound, a high-pitched, almost musical asterisk shing as a diamond-tipped tool glides across a vast sheet of glass. It's a sound of exquisite precision, a whisper of imminent change. You're standing in a workshop, cool and bright despite the overcast sky outside, filled with the faint metallic tang of lead and the clean, sharp scent of glass. Dust motes dance in the shafts of light streaming through a grimy skylight, illuminating stacks of pristine panes leaning against walls, their edges catching the light in 1,000 tiny refractions. You approach a workbench, littered with fragments and offcuts sparkling like scattered jewels. A glazier, his brow furrowed in concentration, holds a large sheet of flawless glass steady with one hand. His other hand, calloused and strong, guides a small, weighty tool with incredible care. Your eyes follow the glinting tip as it scores a perfect, unwavering line across the transparent surface. There's a quiet intensity in the air, a stillness that demands your full attention. You hold your breath, almost unconsciously, as if your slightest movement might shatter the delicate tension. He presses down, a focused, deliberate pressure, then with a swift, almost imperceptible flick of his wrist, the large sheet is transformed. There's a sharp, satisfying asterisk snap asterisk, a crisp crack that echoes in the quiet space, not of breakage, but of a clean, precise separation. The two pieces, now perfectly matched, seem to sigh into being. You watch him carefully lift one section, its newly exposed edge glinting wickedly, a silent warning of its inherent danger. He places it gently on a padded surface, then gestures towards a smaller offcut, inviting you closer without a word. You reach out, your fingers brushing against the cold, smooth surface. It's surprisingly heavy, denser than it looks, and utterly unyielding. You can feel the faint vibration from the previous cut still lingering in the air, a ghost of the sound. The edge, where it was broken, feels sharp enough to draw blood, a stark contrast to the inviting smoothness of the main pane. It's a paradox, so clear, so fragile, yet capable of such dangerous edges. You run your thumb over the untouched surface, feeling its flawless perfection. This is not the rough-hewn metal of the foundry, but something entirely refined, born of fire and cooled to crystalline precision. This seemingly simple material, so easily broken, is about to become the very skin of the conservatory, the transparent boundary between worlds. It makes you marvel at the quiet skill, the unwavering hand, and the sheer audacity of those who choose to work with such a beautiful, yet inherently perilous material. Each pane holds not just light, but the risk of 1,000 tiny wounds, a reminder that even the most delicate beauty often demands a price in courage and precision. You lift a sheet of glass from a stack on the workbench, not one of the perfectly cut, flawless panes destined for the grand conservatory, but an older, perhaps rejected piece. It feels surprisingly heavy in your hands, its edges cool and smooth, but as you hold it up, you immediately notice a subtle difference. It's not quite uniform. There's a faint undulation in its surface, a minute warp that speaks of a less refined process, a whisper of the raw heat and slow cooling that birthed it. You peer through it, holding it up to the grimy workshop window. The world outside, the familiar grey of the London sky, the soot-stained brickwork of the adjacent building, and the distant, indistinct silhouette of a passing cart, all ripple and swim as if viewed through disturbed water. The straight lines of the window frame seem to curve, the flat brick walls undulate with a gentle, breathing motion. A chimney pot on the horizon stretches upwards, then squashes downwards, changing its form with the slightest tilt of your wrist. It's a disconcerting yet strangely mesmerizing effect. A sense of soft disorientation washes over you. The colors seem to shift, a muted wash of gray and brown, slightly diffused, as if filtered through a gentle haze. You move your head and the distortions dance, twirl, and settle into new ephemeral shapes. It's as if you're looking into a memory or a dream where the world is not quite solid, not entirely fixed. You bring the pane closer, then further away, watching the shifts in perspective, the way the light catches and refracts differently through the minute imperfections, creating tiny, fleeting rainbows within the glass itself. You turn it over in your hands, running your fingers over the cool, hard surface. There's no obvious flaw, no sharp crack or bubble, just a subtle unevenness that subtly warps the light passing through. It's a unique characteristic, a silent testament to the moment of its creation, a small narrative etched into its very core. This pane, imperfect as it might be, isn't merely transparent. It has its own character, its own way of seeing the world. It filters reality through its unique lens, adding a softness, a certain poetry to the stark edges of everyday life. You hold it for a moment longer, allowing the warped vision to settle. It's not the crystalline clarity that the grand conservatory demands, yet there's a charm to it, isn't there? A reminder that not everything needs to be perfect to hold beauty or to reveal a different kind of truth. Sometimes it's in the very imperfections, the subtle twists and turns, that we find a more interesting perspective, a more individual way of seeing the world around us. And perhaps a reflection of ourselves too. The first thing that greets you even before you see it is a faint, earthy aroma. It's a humid, verdant smell distinct from the damp London air, carrying a hint of rich, cultivated soil and the sweet decay of distant tropical leaves. It's subtle at first, almost a ghost, but as you step further into what appears to be a quiet, overlooked storage room, the scent strengthens, drawing you forward. The room itself is cool and still, filled with a quiet hush that feels worlds away from the city's ceaseless rumble. Your gaze lands on a peculiar wooden and glass box tucked away in a corner. It's a Wardian case, surprisingly large, its wooden frame dark with age and travel, and its panes of glass dulled by a fine film of dust. Yet through the grime you can just make out a vibrant, almost miraculous green within. You reach out, your fingers tracing the cool, smooth surface of the glass. There's a slight condensation on the inside, tiny droplets clinging like morning dew, testament to the enclosed world thriving within. You notice the simple brass latch, tarnished but sturdy, holding the lid fast. With a deliberate motion, your fingers curl around it, feeling the cold, smooth metal. There's a faint click as it releases, a soft, almost imperceptible sound that seems disproportionately significant in the quiet room. You slowly lift the hinged lid, and with a soft creak of old wood, the seal is broken. Immediately, a rush of humid air, thick and sweet with the smell of moist earth and living foliage, washes over your face. It's like breathing in a small patch of jungle transporting across oceans. The air outside the case feels suddenly thin and sharp in comparison. You lean closer, inhaling deeply, letting the intoxicating scent fill your lungs, a potent reminder of growth and untouched wilderness. Now with the lid open, the inner world is fully revealed. Delicate ferns, their fronds are lush, vibrant green, unfurl with an almost shy grace, seeming to sigh with relief in the newly introduced air. Tiny, dark green mosses carpet the soil, glistening with moisture, while an unfamiliar, broad-leafed plant with veins of deep crimson pushes upwards, its leaves unfurling with slow, silent purpose. The soil beneath your gaze is dark and rich, strewn with tiny, colorful pebbles and what appear to be miniature, perfectly formed fungi, like something from a hidden fairy glen. You reach a finger inside carefully to brush against a feathery fern frond. It feels incredibly soft, cool and damp, the texture almost velvety beneath your touch. A single bead of moisture clings to its tip, shimmering in the muted light threatening to fall. This tiny, self-contained ecosystem, a testament to Victorian ingenuity, has journeyed across vast oceans, enduring weeks, perhaps months of darkness and upheaval, yet here it is, flourishing. It's a living relic, a miniature world perfectly preserved, a vibrant heartbeat of nature brought home. It makes you realize the incredible tenacity of life itself, its quiet determination to survive and thrive, even when seemingly cut off from its natural home, finding comfort and resilience within its own contained world. It shows us that true strength often lies not in conquering, but in simply enduring and nurturing life. The humid air released from the Wardian case still envelops you. It's no longer just a scent, it's a tangible presence, warm and thick against your skin, almost clinging to your eyelashes. You breathe it in deeply, letting it fill your lungs, and there's a distinct earthy sweetness that registers not just in your nose but somehow on your palate too. It's a taste, subtle yet unmistakable, of damp soil after a tropical downpour, a hint of mineral richness mixed with the quiet, green breath of thriving plants. It's an unusual sensation, like tasting a forgotten memory of distant, exotic lands. You run a tongue across your lips, finding them slightly moist from the enveloping humidity. The air itself feels sweet, alive, a direct contrast to the sooty, metallic taste of London that still sometimes lingers. It's as if a tiny, vibrant ecosystem has bottled the very essence of its origin, and now, with the lid ajar, that essence is gently escaping, inviting you to partake. Your eyes trace the glistening droplets on the fern fronds, some so plump they threaten to fall, reflecting the muted light like miniature pearls. You can practically feel the moisture wicking up through the roots, circulating, nourishing, sustaining. Leaning closer still, your head slightly dipped into the pocket of warmth above the case, you close your eyes for a moment. The world outside, the quiet room, the city beyond, it all fades away. All that remains is the immediate sensory experience. The soft, damp breath against your face, the pervasive, unique taste of damp earth, and the subtle, living perfume of leaves and soil. It's almost intoxicating, transporting you far beyond the grimy walls, beyond the London drizzle, to some sun-drenched rainforest floor, alive with unseen insects and the quiet unfurling of new life. You reach out again carefully, letting your finger brush a tiny, glossy leaf. It feels cool, pliable, deeply hydrated. The sheer vibrancy of the colors within the case, the deep greens, the surprising flashes of red and purple in a flowering moss, seems to intensify with the heightened sensory focus. It's a microcosm, a perfectly contained fragment of another world, brought here, patiently nurtured, and now generously sharing its essence. The slight bitterness you might associate with damp earth is entirely absent, replaced by this clean, invigorating sweetness. As you draw back, a subtle shift in the air signals the return to the present. The taste fades, replaced by the mundane air of the room, but the memory lingers, vivid and fresh. This small, glass-encased world, with its contained atmosphere and distilled essence, manages to bring the vastness of the globe into a single, palpable moment. It's a powerful reminder that even in the smallest of spaces, profound experiences can be found, offering a glimpse into wonders far beyond our immediate reach, allowing us to taste the world without ever leaving home. The first thing that hits you is the scent, a dry, almost salty fragrance that speaks of distant shores and long journeys across restless oceans. It's the unique smell of aged paper mingled with something mineral, something a little sharp, like sea air trapped within pages. You're in a quiet, dust-moted study, the kind with heavy velvet curtains and mahogany gleaming under a single, focused gas lamp. The air here is still, thick with the scent of old books and dried potpourri, but this new aroma cuts through it, immediately drawing your attention to a small, leather-bound volume resting open on a polished desk. It's a diary or perhaps a field journal, its cover worn smooth and scarred, deeply creased along the spine from countless openings and closings. The leather itself is dark, almost black in places, with patches where the original faded brown shows through like old wounds. You reach out, your fingers tracing the deeply etched lines and grooves of its surface, feeling the cool, slightly grainy texture of the leather. It feels alive with history, weighty with unseen stories. You turn the pages carefully, your touch light, almost reverent. The paper inside is thick, fibrous, and stained with 1,000 tiny marks that whisper of its arduous travels. There are faint, ghostly rings where a wet cup might have been set down, smudged thumbprints of dried earth that now seem to shimmer with memory, and unmistakably speckles of crystalline salt caught forever in the paper's weave. They catch the light, tiny prisms reflecting the lamp's glow, each one a relic of a distant spray, a crashing wave, a moment of vast, wild ocean. You almost imagine you can hear the creak of a ship's timber, the distant cry of gulls, the relentless slap of water against a hull. The handwriting across the pages is precise, yet often hurried, sometimes neat and legible, sometimes barely legible, sprawling across the lines as if pennied in haste or during a sudden lurch. The ink itself is faded, some entries in a deep sepia tone, others almost blue-black, suggesting different pens, different moments, different moods. You lean closer, trying to decipher a particularly frantic-looking passage. It describes a desperate search through dense, humid jungle, the air thick with biting insects, the ground treacherous underfoot. You can almost feel the stifling heat, the clinging damp, the persistent hum of unseen life. Tucked between two particularly worn pages where the paper feels thinnest, you spot something delicate. A single pressed fern frond, flattened and fragile, its veins still intricately visible, a ghost of its living green now a muted brown. It's a relic, a silent trophy from a world far removed from this quiet study. You carefully touch the paper around it, feeling the slight indentation where the plant once lay fresh, its form captured forever. The air, even without the actual plant, seems to hold a stronger hint of that damp tropical earth, a potent reminder of where this journal and its owner had been. This journal isn't just a record. It's a living echo of a life driven by insatiable curiosity, a quiet obsession with the natural world. It speaks of endurance, of solitude, and of an unyielding passion to bring the wonders of faraway lands back home. It makes you feel the sheer audacity and loneliness of those voyages, the relentless pursuit of discovery, and the profound human desire to bridge the gap between the known and the unknown, one careful, salt-stained page at a time. It's a testament to how profoundly a single object can carry the weight of an entire world. As you carefully leaf through the plant hunter's journal, a delicate, almost weightless fragment drifts from between two particularly aged pages. It lands silently on the polished mahogany desk, a whisper of a sound. You lean in, your gaze drawn to this tiny, frail object. It's a pressed flower, or what was once a flower, now a ghost of its former self. You gently reach out, your fingers hovering, then carefully pick it up. It feels impossibly light, like dried tissue paper. The petals, once surely vibrant, are now a bruised, faded purple, tinged with brown along their crinkled edges. They are brittle to the touch, threatening to crumble into dust if held too tightly. You can see the intricate network of veins, delicate as fine lace, still visible despite the years, a testament to its once living form. The stem, thin as a thread, curls slightly, a silent record of the way it was pressed. You bring it closer to your nose. The scent is barely there, a faint, almost imagined sweetness. It's a ghost of a perfume, a whisper of a fragrance that once filled a distant, humid air. You can almost taste the damp, tropical tang you experienced from the Wardian case, but here it's muted, distant, like an old memory fading at the edges. This isn't the fresh, vibrant aroma of a living bloom. It's the quiet, melancholic breath of something long preserved, a poignant echo of its original vitality. You hold it up, turning it gently, watching how the muted light from the gas lamp catches its translucent petals. Each slight imperfection, each tiny tear or crease tells a story of its journey. Was it plucked in a sun-drenched jungle, hastily pressed into the pages of this very journal, then carried across treacherous seas? You imagine the salt spray, the stifling heat of a ship's hold, the sheer relentless motion, all endured by this tiny, fragile thing, simply to arrive here to be marvelled at in a quiet London study. This small, withered bloom, so easily overlooked, speaks volumes about the immense effort, the peril, and the profound dedication involved in bridging the vast distances between worlds. It's a testament to beauty's ephemeral nature, to how quickly life can fade, yet also to the enduring human desire to capture and preserve even the most fleeting wonders. It makes you feel the true weight of time and journey, compressed into this bruised, fading whisper of a flower, a silent symbol of a truly perilous passage. The soft, deep pile of the velvet is the first thing that registers. It's a gown, an opulent fabric, deep emerald green, draped over a mannequin in a richly decorated drawing room. You reach out, your fingers sinking into the luxurious nap, feeling the incredibly smooth, almost living texture beneath your touch. The fabric is cool, yielding, absorbing the light rather than reflecting it, creating shadows that deepen its intense color. It smells faintly of lavender and old lace, a testament to a bygone elegance. But as your eyes adjust to the subtle light, you notice something else, something utterly unexpected on its surface. Tiny, almost imperceptible specks like fine, dark dust are scattered delicately across the velvet. They catch the stray beams of light glistening faintly. You lean closer, your brow furrowing in curiosity. These aren't just dust motes, they're too uniform, too deliberate in their scattered pattern. You bring your face nearer, close enough to discern their individual shapes like microscopic seeds or grains of pepper. These are fern spores. A sudden, almost imperceptible whisper of damp earth seems to rise from the fabric, a ghostly echo of a wild, verdant place. It's not the dry, dusty air of the drawing room, but a phantom moisture, a breath of the forest floor clinging to the threads. You imagine the lady who wore this gown, perhaps gathering ferns in some damp woodland, or tending to her precious Wardian case, oblivious to the tiny, vital cargo she carried. Each speck represents a potential new life, a miniature seed of a fern traveling silently, invisibly on the very fabric of society. You brush a finger lightly over the surface, a delicate sweep that gathers a few of the minuscule spores onto your fingertip. They feel almost weightless, a fine powder against your skin. This isn't deliberate ornamentation, it's an accidental scattering, a quiet, insistent presence of the natural world intruding into the carefully cultivated domestic sphere. It's pteridamania, isn't it? The Victorian obsession with ferns so profound that even their invisible propagules find their way onto the most formal attire. It makes you reflect on the hidden journeys we all take, the fragments of our experiences that cling to us unseen, yet potent with the promise of new life, new growth, and new connections. These tiny spores, unnoticed by many, are a quiet, tenacious force, spreading life and beauty even in the most unexpected places. The first thing that pulls you into the scene is the distinct, sweet, earthy scent of a living plant, almost damp, cutting through the dry warmth of the gaslit room. It's a familiar, enclosed kind of heat, punctuated by the soft, rhythmic hiss of a gas burner somewhere in the opulent drawing room. The air itself is still, heavy with the lingering aromas of polished wood and perhaps faint cigar smoke, but that green, living fragrance holds your attention. Your gaze is drawn to a towering presence in the corner, a magnificent tree fern. Its trunk, rough and scaled, rises from a large ceramic pot, reaching upwards towards the ornate ceiling. From this thick, fibrous column, enormous fronds unfurl, arching out gracefully, their intricate, feathered leaves creating a dense canopy of deep green. You walk closer, the thick carpet muffling your steps, and instinctively reach out to brush a finger against one of the lower fronds. It feels surprisingly robust, yet cool and slightly velvety to the touch, alive with a quiet internal moisture. But it's not just the fern itself that captivates you. The flickering, soft yellow light from a nearby gas lamp catches its silhouette, transforming it. An enormous, wavering shadow dances across the patterned wallpaper, stretching and contracting with every subtle shift of the flame. It's a distorted, monstrous twin of the real plant, covering a significant portion of the wall, even creeping onto the ceiling. The delicate, intricate lacework of the fronds becomes vast, almost primordial shapes in the shadow, shifting like something ancient and untamed, a sleeping beast that breathes with the light. As the gaslight dances, the shadow stretches a long, spectral frond that seems to curl around a framed portrait on the wall, then retracts, only to swell and distort again. You tilt your head, watching the silent, mesmerizing ballet. The shadow takes on a life of its own, a dark, breathing presence that seems to move independently of the plant itself, larger, wilder, and far more imposing than its confined source. It feels like a glimpse into a world that should not exist within these four walls, a forgotten jungle brought vividly, if fleetingly, to life by mere light and shadow. The contained, domesticated plant in its pot suddenly feels vast, elemental. It makes you realize how powerfully light can reveal and simultaneously distort truth. This delicate, treasured fern, brought from distant lands, finds its most untamed expression not in its physical form, but in the sprawling, dancing illusion it casts. It's a profound reminder that even when we attempt to tame and contain nature, its wild, intrinsic spirit often finds a way to make itself known, perhaps most vividly in the shadows it throws upon our carefully constructed worlds. The moment you step through the heavy wooden door, the first thing that hits you is a cloud of perfume, a rich, complex, utterly intoxicating fragrance that seems to cling to the very air. It's sweet, almost cloying, but with an underlying exotic spice, a delicate floral note that dances with a deeper, musky warmth. It's not just a pleasant scent, it's a living presence wrapping itself around you, pulling you deeper into the room. This isn't the damp earth of ferns, this is something altogether more opulent, more seductive. You've entered a small, dedicated hothouse, a glass-roofed sanctuary bathed in a soft, diffused light. The air is thick with humidity, warm and moist against your skin, a stark contrast to the crisp coolness you've left behind. Your breath feels instantly heavier, yet somehow more vital. Lush dark green leaves, some thick and waxy, others slender and delicate, fill your vision, creating a dense, verdant tapestry. But it's the flowers that command attention, hanging suspended, perched on branches, or emerging from tangled roots, orchids, in every conceivable shade and form. Your eyes are drawn, almost involuntarily, to a particular bloom. It's a riot of color, a flamboyant cascade of petals in deep fuchsia, streaked with veins of gold, and a startling splash of fiery orange in its intricate throat. It appears almost translucent, delicate as spun sugar, yet impossibly vibrant. You lean in, drawn by its sheer audacity, and the perfume intensifies, washing over you in waves. It's dizzying, a heady mix that feels both ancient and utterly new. You inhale again deeply, letting the complex aroma fill your senses, feeling it not just in your nose but somehow behind your eyes, a sweet pressure, a gentle thrum. You reach out a hesitant hand, drawn by the allure, almost compelled to touch the velvety texture of a petal, but just before your fingers make contact, you pause. The orchid hangs there, perfect and untouched, a silent, breathtaking invitation. Its very existence feels like a carefully crafted illusion, too perfect to be real yet undeniably alive, pulsating with an almost alien beauty. Tiny droplets of condensation cling to its waxy leaves, shimmering like scattered diamonds in the humid light. The air itself feels heavy with its presence, charged with the potent chemistry of its fragrance. You realize that this isn't merely a flower, it's a performance, a deliberate display designed to enchant, to lure, to survive. Its intoxicating perfume is both a message and a shield, a promise and a warning. It's a powerful testament to nature's ingenuity, its capacity for extravagant beauty, and its profound, unspoken language of attraction. Standing here, enveloped by its heady scent, you understand how deeply such an exquisite creation can ensnare the senses, transporting you to a realm where beauty is both fragile and utterly commanding, a silent, fragrant queen demanding your undivided attention. The intoxicating perfume of the orchids still hangs heavy in the humid air of the hothouse, a luxurious, almost overwhelming presence. Your eyes are fixed on that vibrant fuchsia bloom, its complex structure drawing you in, promising hidden depths. You find yourself leaning even closer, the warmth of the air against your cheek. The fine hairs on your arms prickle with the humidity, and the sweet, musky scent is now so intense it feels like a physical thing pressing against your sinuses. Then you see it, tucked deep within the intricate throat of the orchid, glistening like a tiny jewel, is a single, perfect drop of nectar. It shimmers in the diffused light, catching the subtle spectrum of colors from the petals around it, a tiny, viscous bead, clear and inviting. It's an almost irresistible allure, a concentrated essence of the flower's very being, a sweet reward for those who venture close enough. You extend a finger, slowly, carefully, drawn by an unspoken curiosity. The movement feels deliberate, almost ritualistic, as if you're crossing an invisible threshold. The air around the flower feels almost charged, a silent hum of unseen processes. Your fingertip barely brushes the surface of the nectar, just enough to disturb its perfect spherical tension. A tiny, almost imperceptible film of liquid adheres to your skin. It's cool, sticky, and slightly viscous. You bring your finger to your lips, a primal, instinctive gesture. The taste is immediate and surprising. It's intensely sweet, far more concentrated than you anticipated, with an unexpected floral bitterness at the back of the tongue. It's rich, complex, almost overwhelming, a potent burst of flavor that lingers, leaving a ghost of its exotic, heady perfume on your palate. It's not simply sugar. It's the very essence of the orchid, a concentrated drop of its life force, its seductive power. A shiver runs through you, a curious mix of delight and something else, a fleeting understanding of the hidden cost. This single, exquisite drop, so intoxicating, represents so much more than just a sweet treat. It's the culmination of an arduous journey across oceans, the relentless pursuit of a rare beauty, the tireless cultivation in a carefully constructed environment. It's the physical manifestation of obsession, of a passionate desire to possess and preserve something so utterly alien and magnificent. As the taste slowly fades, leaving a lingering sweetness, you pull your hand back. You glance at the orchid, still hanging perfect and vibrant, a silent testament to its own compelling power. This tiny drop of nectar, a fleeting indulgence, encapsulates the entire story of the conservatory. The ambition, the danger, the sheer human will to capture and control nature's most extravagant wonders. It makes you feel the true weight of that obsession, the intense desire to bring the extraordinary into the ordinary, and the profound, sometimes unseen price that is paid for such a magnificent dream. The first thing that reaches you is a delicate musical sound, the soft, rhythmic clinking of porcelain against porcelain, accompanied by the gentle murmur of hushed voices. It's a subtle, almost ethereal sound, carried on the warm, moist air, utterly distinct from the city's distant rumble. You've finally stepped inside the grand conservatory, the vast glass dome you glimpsed earlier, and the air here is a revelation. It's thick with the scent of damp earth and exotic blossoms, a rich, heady blend that feels like a physical embrace. It's a tropical microclimate carefully maintained, a breath of equatorial air transporting to the heart of London. You walk deeper, your footsteps muffled by the soft, damp soil paths that wind through a veritable jungle. Enormous palm fronds, some wider than you are tall, arch gracefully overhead, filtering the daylight into dappled patterns on the lush foliage below. You pass towering tree ferns, their scaled trunks ancient and formidable, and delicate, unfamiliar flowers in vibrant hues of red, yellow, and violet peek from behind broad, waxy leaves. The air hums with a quiet, living energy, the buzz of a solitary bee, the gentle rustle of leaves as a hidden water feature trickles nearby. Following the sound of voices and the persistent clinking, you round a bend in the path and glimpse a scene of unexpected elegance. Beneath the soaring glass ceiling, nestled amidst a grove of towering palms, sits a small gathering. 3 ladies in elaborate Victorian gowns are seated around a delicate wrought iron table. A white lace tablecloth covers it, upon which rests an ornate silver tea service, gleaming softly in the diffused light. Tiny, painted porcelain teacups are being raised and lowered, their delicate rims brushing against silver spoons. You slow your pace, observing from a slight distance. Their voices are soft, almost conspiratorial whispers punctuated by light laughter. You can't quite make out their words, but their gestures speak volumes. One lady, in a gown of shimmering emerald green, leans forward, her gloved hand gesturing delicately towards a particularly vibrant orchid that hangs nearby. Her eyes sparkle with a quiet enthusiasm. Another, dressed in deep crimson, sips her tea with an air of refined composure, her head tilted, listening intently. The third, in a softer blue, simply smiles, her gaze sweeping over the verdant surroundings as if savoring every moment of this stolen tropical afternoon. They seem utterly at home here, a tableau of refined Victorian society comfortably coexisting with the wild, untamed beauty around them. The exotic plants, so carefully cultivated, become a natural backdrop to their conversation, a lush, living parlor. It makes you feel the strange, yet compelling allure of these glass palaces, these captured wildernesses. They are not just scientific wonders, but social arenas, places where the boundaries between nature and civilization blur, where the wildest dreams of distant lands are brought home to be admired, discussed, and quietly savored, a truly unique blend of human aspiration and natural wonder. The air in the conservatory is still thick with the scent of damp earth and blooming orchids, a soft, humid warmth against your skin. You're still observing the ladies taking tea, their low whispers weaving through the rustle of giant palm fronds. The delicate clinking of china continues, a fragile sound in this wild, green world. One of the ladies, the one in the shimmering emerald gown, shifts slightly in her seat. Her silk skirt, a swathe of luxurious fabric, brushes against a nearby plant. There's a faint, almost imperceptible rasping asterisk sound, a soft whisper of delicate material meeting something unexpectedly coarse. You see her flinch just a fraction, a barely perceptible tightening around her eyes before she quickly recovers her poise. Your gaze is drawn to the point of contact. A trailing vine, its stem thick and woody, is armed with small, sharp thorns, almost hidden beneath its glossy green leaves. They are not vicious spikes, but rather subtle, hook-like barbs designed to cling and catch. A tiny, almost invisible snag mark now mars the smooth, expensive silk of her skirt, a single pulled thread barely visible unless you know where to look. It's a minute imperfection on an otherwise flawless garment, a testament to the plant's quiet defense. The contrast is stark, the refined, artificial elegance of silk, carefully woven and dyed, against the raw, natural ingenuity of a thorny branch evolved to protect itself. The lady makes a discreet adjustment, pulling her skirt away from the plant, her movement fluid and graceful as if nothing untoward had happened. Her companion, sipping her tea, doesn't seem to have noticed, her attention focused on some distant thought. You feel a subtle tension, a momentary clash between the civilized and the wild, played out in this tiny, silent interaction. It's a reminder that even in a carefully curated paradise, nature retains its edges, its subtle defenses. This small, unexpected prickle of a thorn through layers of silk speaks volumes about vulnerability and resilience, about how quickly the illusion of control can be broken, and how profoundly beautiful and sometimes sharp the untamed world remains. The first thing that pulls you in is the heavy, rich scent of damp earth, layered with something sharper, almost metallic, and a faint human tang of sweat. It's a working smell, a visceral aroma that speaks of effort and connection to the soil. You're in a less public part of the great conservatory, a quiet corner where the verdant display gives way to the practical realities of cultivation. Here, the air still holds that characteristic humid warmth, but it's less perfumed, more grounded, almost raw. Your eyes land on a figure kneeling amidst a bed of newly potted tropical plants. It's the gardener, his back to you, hunched over, his movements slow and deliberate. His jacket, made of sturdy, practical canvas, is stained with dark patches of soil and moisture. As he shifts, you hear a soft grunt, a subtle exhalation of effort, and the rhythmic scrape of a small hand trowel against the ceramic rim of a pot. You draw closer, stopping just a few paces away, your attention fixed on his hands. They are remarkable hands, thick, gnarled with age and constant labor, deeply tanned and etched with a map of lines and creases. The knuckles are swollen, the nails short and ingrained with dark earth, a permanent badge of his profession. You can almost feel the rough, unyielding texture of his skin, the decades of contact with soil, rough wood, and abrasive tools. He carefully lifts a small, delicate seedling, its roots trailing like fine white threads. His fingers, despite their size and evident strength, are surprisingly gentle as he positions the fragile plant in its new home. You see the muscles in his forearms tighten with the effort, the subtle tremor that runs through them as he steadies the tiny specimen. Then with a slow, almost painful motion, he presses down the surrounding soil, compacting it with a firm, paternal touch. You can almost feel the ache in his own bones, a dull throb that resonates with every deliberate action, a lifetime of tending and nurturing etched into his very being. He pauses, running the back of a hand across his forehead, leaving a streak of dark earth behind. His gaze sweeps over the burgeoning life around him, a quiet, almost meditative inspection. There's no grand gesture, no outward sign of triumph, just a deep-seated satisfaction in the quiet persistence of growth. The air itself seems to carry the echoes of his unseen labor, a silent hum of dedication. Watching him, you understand that the soaring glass, the intricate ironwork, the rare and exquisite blooms, none of it would exist, none of it would flourish, without this quiet, relentless, deeply physical work. This hidden ache, these calloused hands, are the true bedrock of this glass dream. It makes you realize the profound connection between human effort and natural beauty, the silent dialogue between the laboring body and the living world, a relationship forged in sweat, soil, and an unyielding commitment to growth. The rich, loamy scent of the soil is incredibly potent here, mingled with the almost mineral tang of healthy plant life and the pervasive humidity of the conservatory. You're still close to the kneeling gardener, observing his quiet, focused work, and the air around him seems to vibrate with a palpable, almost intimate connection to the earth. He reaches for a small watering can, its metal glinting dully in the filtered light. You hear the soft, gurgling sound of water being poured, a comforting, familiar rush that almost seems to be speaking to the plants. As he tips the spout, a thin, gentle stream of water cascades onto the soil around a newly potted fern. It absorbs immediately, turning the dark earth to an even deeper, richer black, the surface glistening briefly before the moisture disappears into the thirsty roots below. He doesn't just pour, his movements are precise, almost reverent. He seems to gauge the exact amount needed, a subtle flick of the wrist, a pause, a moment of silent observation. You notice that he doesn't look directly at the water as it pours, but rather at the soil itself, at the subtle changes in its texture and color. It's as if he can feel the moisture penetrating, can sense the exact moment the earth has drunk its fill. His calloused fingers, still smudged with dark earth, hover over the damp soil, almost caressing it. Then, with a slow, deliberate motion, he gently probes the earth with a single finger, feeling for its consistency, its coolness, its hidden network of root systems. You imagine the tactile information he's gathering, the fine grit of sand, the clinging softness of clay, the subtle give of healthy root growth. It's an intimate conversation, a silent exchange of information that transcends words. He is feeling the very pulse of the plant, its unspoken needs. He nods slightly, a small, almost imperceptible gesture of approval. It's clear that this isn't just a task. It's a form of deep communication, a knowing born of years of quiet observation and patient dedication. He moves on to the next plant, his gaze keen, his hands moving with that same deliberate, practiced grace. Each plant receives the same focused attention, the same gentle touch, the same unspoken understanding of its unique requirements. Watching him, you understand that this deep, intuitive knowledge of soil, water, and root is what truly brings the conservatory to life. It's the unseen artistry, the quiet wisdom that underpins all the visible beauty. This intimate connection, the profound understanding of nature's delicate balance, reminds you that true care isn't just about grand gestures or exotic blooms, but about the patient, humble work of tending to the unseen, of fostering life at its most fundamental level, a quiet, profound act of creation. The first thing you register is the sound of water, a gentle, incessant splashing and gurgling, like 1,000 tiny murmurs all at once. It's the central fountain in the conservatory, its soft roar filling the humid air, creating a natural, enveloping white noise. This sound, more than any other, dictates the atmosphere here, muffling the distant city, yet paradoxically inviting intimacy. The air is still warm and heavy with the scent of damp earth and blooming lilies, but there's an underlying tension, a subtle shift you can almost taste. You move through the dense foliage, the broad leaves of a giant philodendron brushing softly against your arm, its waxy surface cool and smooth. You're drawn towards a quieter alcove, where the fountain's sound is strongest, creating a natural acoustic screen. And there, partially obscured by a cascade of trailing ferns, you spot two figures. They are leaning in close to one another, their heads almost touching, their forms softened by the filtered light and the shrouding greenery. They are speaking in hushed tones, their voices barely audible above the constant splash of the fountain. You can only catch fragments, whispers that seem to dissolve into the humid air before fully forming. A hand gestures quickly, almost nervously. A head shakes slowly, a visible tremor of concern. Their faces are serious, etched with an urgency that contrasts sharply with the tranquil beauty surrounding them. You see a flash of a gloved hand gripping an envelope, quickly tucked away, almost hidden within a dark coat. The spray from the fountain rises and falls, creating a shimmering veil between you and them, further obscuring their words. You strain to hear, leaning in, your senses heightened by the unspoken tension. A word, half-formed, reaches you, something about danger, then shipment, then a name too faint to grasp fully. The rhythm of their conversation is punctuated by short, sharp intakes of breath, by moments of profound silence that feel heavier than any noise. You feel a prickle of unease, a sense of something significant unfolding, something that perhaps shouldn't be overheard. The beautiful, enveloping sound of the fountain, designed to soothe, is now being expertly used to conceal. It's a deliberate masking, a natural privacy curtain for a secret dialogue. The opulent setting, the lush, vibrant life all around, becomes an ironic backdrop to this clandestine exchange. As one of them glances up, her eyes darting nervously towards your general direction, you quickly pull back, retreating deeper into the shadows of the palms. The conversation continues, now even more hushed, swallowed entirely by the constant rush of water. It makes you realize how intricately beauty and intrigue can intertwine, how even in the most serene and carefully cultivated spaces, the urgent realities of human life with its secrets and its dangers continue to unfold, often hidden just beneath the surface, masked by the very sounds designed to bring peace. The pervasive warmth and humidity of the conservatory embrace you, thick and soft against your skin, carrying the familiar sense of damp earth and verdant life. You're wandering through one of the quieter, less manicured sections, where the towering palms give way to more modest, bushy foliage. Here, the glass panels of the structure seem to weep with condensation, rivulets of moisture tracing slow, shimmering paths down the inner surfaces. The world outside, through these steamy panes, is an impressionistic blur of grey and green. You approach a particularly fogged section of glass, its surface a uniform opaque cloud. It's warm to the touch, almost slick with moisture. But then, amongst the endless shimmering expanse, something catches your eye. A small, perfect circle no bigger than a sovereign coin stands out clearly. It's a fingerprint etched with remarkable clarity into the condensation. You lean closer, your breath adding to the steam. It's unmistakably the print of a child's finger, smaller than your own, delicate yet firm, capturing every minute whirl and ridge in the fine film of moisture. You can almost feel the gentle pressure that left it there, the fleeting contact of curious skin against the warm, misty glass. It's a transient mark, a brief, innocent declaration of presence. You reach out instinctively, your own finger hovering just above the print. The temptation to trace its delicate contours, to connect with that ephemeral touch, is strong. You imagine the small hand that pressed against this pane, perhaps gazing wide-eyed at a vibrant orchid, or marveling at the cascading water of a fountain. The print is a momentary portal, connecting you to that child's quiet wonder, their simple act of curiosity in this magnificent, captured world. It stands in stark contrast to the grand, ambitious architecture around you, the immense iron girders, the thousands of carefully cut glass panes, the exotic plants brought from distant lands. All of that is about scale, endurance, and scientific triumph. But this tiny, vulnerable imprint is about something far more personal, far more human. It's about a single, inquisitive moment, a child's ephemeral connection to the wonder of it all, leaving behind a transient yet potent ghost of their presence. You watch as, even now, the edges of the print slowly begin to soften, the sharp lines blurring as the condensation subtly shifts, threatening to reclaim its surface. It's a reminder of how fleeting our marks can be, how quickly moments pass. But in that soft fading, there's also a quiet beauty, a testament to the brief, profound touches we leave upon the world, often unnoticed, yet always carrying the weight of our shared human experience. The first thing you notice is a strange, sickly sweet stickiness in the air, a faint, sugary scent that isn't quite the heady perfume of the orchids, nor the rich earthiness of the ferns. It's almost cloying, an unsettling sweetness that seems to coat the back of your throat. You're in a warmer, quieter corner of the conservatory, where the humidity feels particularly dense, clinging to your clothes. The sunlight diffused through the glass casts a soft, almost ethereal glow, but there's a subtle disquiet beneath the surface. You're drawn to a large, glossy-leaved plant, its deep green foliage usually a picture of vibrant health. But today, as you approach, you see something peculiar. The leaves, particularly the undersides and the new shoots, are not simply glistening with moisture from the humidity. No, they shimmer with a distinct, almost unnatural sheen. You lean closer, your brow furrowing in curiosity. It's a sticky residue, catching the light in 1,000 tiny, viscous points, like minuscule drops of syrup scattered across the surface. It looks almost beautiful if you didn't know better. You reach out a finger slowly, tentatively, and press it against one of the glistening leaves. It feels cool, slick, and undeniably tacky. When you pull your finger away, a faint, almost imperceptible thread of stickiness stretches for a moment before snapping, leaving a trace of that odd, sweet residue on your skin. You rub your thumb and forefinger together, feeling the peculiar, unpleasant texture, a sharp contrast to the usually smooth, vibrant life of the plant. Then you see them. Nestled amongst the tender new growth clustered along the veins of the leaves are tiny pear-shaped insects. Aphids, hundreds of them. They are almost translucent, some are pale green, others are dusky brown, clinging motionless to the plant, their minute bodies subtly pulsing. They are so small, so deceptively still, yet their presence is undeniable, a silent, insidious army slowly draining the life from the plant. The honeydew you felt and smelled is their sugary waste, the sinister gleam in the dappled light. You notice a few ants scurrying with a frantic energy along the stems, tending to the aphids like tiny, dark shepherds herding their flock. It's a symbiotic relationship, disturbing in its efficiency. The ants protect the aphids from predators, and in return they harvest the sweet, sticky honeydew. It's a hidden ecosystem of exploitation, thriving unseen beneath the grand canopy of the conservatory. The vibrant, majestic life of the plant is slowly being siphoned away by these almost invisible creatures, their parasitic feast leaving behind that deceptively sweet and shimmering trail. You pull back your hand, a faint shiver running through you despite the warmth. This hidden struggle, this quiet, relentless battle for survival and sustenance, is a stark reminder that even in the most carefully cultivated and beautiful of paradises, vulnerability persists. Every dream has its unseen challenges, its quiet threats, and sometimes the most insidious dangers wear the most innocent or even the most deceptively beautiful guises. This seemingly benign gleam of honeydew is, after all, a silent testament to a life slowly being taken. The first thing that hits you sharp and immediate is the smell, a potent acrid cloud that stings your nostrils and catches in the back of your throat. It's a chemical tang, unmistakable and deeply unpleasant, a bitter, smoky aroma layered with something faintly metallic and a raw, almost earthy nicotine bite. You cough, a dry, reflexive spasm, your eyes immediately starting to water as you step across the threshold. This isn't the lush, sweet perfume of flowers, nor the rich earthiness of damp soil. This is something altogether more sinister, a deliberate assault on the senses. You've entered the main hall of the conservatory, but it's transformed. The usual vibrant greens and exotic blooms are now veiled, softened by a pervasive, yellowish haze that hangs heavy in the humid air. It's a thick, almost palpable mist, slowly swirling and creeping through the dense foliage, settling on every leaf and petal like an unnatural dew. The air itself feels heavy, stifling, laden with the invisible, yet deeply felt presence of something toxic. The glass roof, usually a beacon of light, now filters the sun into a sickly, diffused glow, making the entire space feel oppressive, strangely ominous. Through the haze, you can just make out figures moving with a quiet urgency. They are muffled, indistinct shapes, their faces obscured by cloths or masks, their movements deliberate and cautious. You hear a low, rhythmic hissing sound coming from somewhere deeper within the labyrinth of plants, punctuated by the faint clink of metal. It's the fumigation apparatus slowly releasing its deadly vapor, a necessary evil to protect this curated paradise. The soft spray from the central fountain, usually so soothing, now seems to disperse the chemical mist even more effectively, turning its gentle cascade into an instrument of biological warfare against unseen pests. You pull the collar of your coat up over your nose and mouth, but it does little to filter the pervasive stench. Each breath is an act of deliberate caution, a shallow intake of air that still carries the burning sensation. You feel a tightness in your chest, a dull ache that isn't entirely imagined. The intricate ironwork of the conservatory, normally so elegant, now seems to loom, its dark framework a skeletal cage for this toxic operation. The leaves of a nearby giant fern, usually so lustrous, are coated in a fine, almost invisible film, and you can see a few dead insects, tiny, fragile casualties, scattered on the damp earth below. Your gaze lingers on a particularly magnificent orchid, its vibrant petals now muted duller, as the chemical cloud gently settles upon its delicate form. It stands as a symbol of the immense effort, the drastic measures, required to maintain this fragile, artificial ecosystem. This is the unseen, unglamorous side of such beauty, the constant, ruthless battle waged against the natural world's more insidious elements. Stepping back, out of the most concentrated area of the haze, you still taste the acrid chemical on your tongue, a lingering reminder of the harsh realities beneath the glass. It makes you confront the relentless fight for perfection, the lengths to which we go to preserve beauty, even when it means introducing something destructive. This moment makes you ponder the delicate balance between control and chaos, between nurturing life and eradicating what threatens it, a profound and complex dance of creation and destruction, all for the sake of a dream held captive under glass. The first thing that hits you sharp and immediate is the metallic, bitter taste on your tongue. It's the acrid residue of soot, a fine, gritty film that coats your mouth, clinging to your teeth, a constant, unpleasant presence that makes you want to swallow and clear your throat, but there's no escape. It's the very flavor of the industrial air, a grim reminder of the world beyond the glass. You've stepped out from the artificial paradise of the conservatory, leaving behind its warm, humid embrace and the heady perfumes of exotic blooms. Now you're back in the biting cold of a London afternoon, and the air here is a thick, greasy soup of coal smoke and damp. Your breath condenses instantly, a tiny, fleeting cloud in the perpetual grey. The sky above is a uniform, oppressive slate pressing down on the grime-slicked streets. The rhythmic thrum of distant machinery, a dull, inescapable groan, vibrates through the very ground beneath your worn boots. Each step is a heavy, leaden affair, your feet crunching on scattered cinders and wet grit. You pull your coat tighter, feeling the chills seep into your bones, a stark contrast to the tropical warmth you've just left. The grand, intricate ironwork of the conservatory, so elegant and refined within, here seems stark, its external girders stained with streaks of black, weeping rust onto the sooty brickwork that surrounds it. You glance towards a towering chimney stack in the distance, a colossal brick finger pointing accusingly at the heavens, belching forth an unending plume of dark, thick smoke that further smudges the already bruised sky. The sheer, relentless output of the factories, the engine of this mighty city, is physically palpable. You can feel the fine dust of their tireless work settling on your eyelashes, in your hair, even within the folds of your clothing, a constant, abrasive companion. The taste on your tongue is the undeniable proof of this ceaseless, grinding endeavor. It's a brutal, uncompromising reality, utterly divorced from the delicate beauty nurtured within the glass walls. This raw, industrial world, with its pollution and its pervasive taste of soot, is the very foundation upon which that fragile dream is built. It makes you realize the profound duality of progress, the grimy, often unpleasant truth behind the beautiful facades. The bitter taste on your tongue is a stark reminder that even the most exquisite dreams demand a price, often paid in the very air we breathe, an uncomfortable truth that lingers long after the smoke has cleared. The bitter, gritty taste of soot still lingers on your tongue, a sharp contrast to the rich, humid air you've just left behind. You're standing outside the colossal glass structure of the conservatory, enveloped by the raw, biting cold of the London air. Above you, the sky is a uniform, bruised grey, smeared with the perpetual effluence of countless chimneys, a vast, oppressive canvas of industrial grime. The sounds of the city, the distant rumble of carts, the muted clang of metal, the incessant cough of coal fires all coalesce into a dull, unrelenting roar. You pull your scarf tighter, feeling the cold seep into your bones, a physical ache that highlights the warmth you'd grown accustomed to inside. Your gaze drifts upwards, tracing the intricate iron ribs of the conservatory as they climb towards the smoky heavens. The glass panes, so clear and pristine from within, are now streaked with soot and condensation on the exterior, reflecting the dull, grey light in 1,000 fractured patterns. But then something catches your eye. Through one of the higher panes, almost perfectly framed against the backdrop of that smudged, unyielding sky, you glimpse it, a single vivid green leaf. It's a perfect specimen, its surface smooth and unblemished, its colour a startling, almost impossibly vibrant emerald. It shimmers with a quiet, internal vitality, utterly untouched by the grime and gloom that saturate the world outside its glass enclosure. You can almost feel its delicate, waxy texture, sense the subtle network of veins beneath its surface. It floats there, a tiny, defiant beacon of life, an exquisite piece of nature's artistry preserved in its pristine state. The murky sky, laden with the detritus of human industry, seems to press against the glass, yet cannot penetrate the fragile barrier that protects this small, perfect miracle. It's a moment of profound contrast, the raw, relentless force of the city pitted against the quiet, resilient beauty of a single leaf held safe in its glass bubble. The very air around it, through the distortion of the pane, seems to glow with an inner radiance. You stand there, a strange sense of wonder washing over you. This tiny, perfect leaf, a fragment of a distant, wild world thriving in an artificial paradise, speaks volumes about the human spirit's unwavering desire to create and protect beauty, even in the most inhospitable of environments. It makes you feel the sheer power of hope, the tenacious refusal of life to be extinguished, and the quiet, enduring strength that can be found in even the most delicate of forms, carefully nurtured against an indifferent, smoky sky. The first thing that hits you is a deep, resonating asterisk thump-thump hiss-clank asterisk, a rhythmic, metallic heartbeat that vibrates through the very ground beneath your feet. It's an enormous, relentless sound, a pulse of raw power that seems to push against your chest. You've descended into the hidden depths beneath the magnificent conservatory, following a narrow, winding staircase that led you away from the light and warmth above. Down here, the air is thick, stifling, laden with the pungent smell of hot oil, damp coal dust, and searing iron. It's a subterranean world of relentless machinery, the unseen engine that breathes life into the glass palace. You step onto a grimy, uneven concrete floor, your boots crunching on scattered pieces of coal and fine ash. The heat immediately envelops you, a fierce, suffocating embrace that makes sweat spring to your brow instantly. It's a dry, oppressive heat, far more intense than the humid warmth of the plant house. Your shirt already feels damp, clinging uncomfortably to your skin. The light is dim, flickering, cast by a few bare bulbs suspended precariously from the low ceiling, struggling against the perpetual gloom. Your eyes sweep over colossal cast-iron boilers, their immense bellies glowing a sullen, angry red behind grimy inspection hatches. Steam hisses violently from myriad valves and pipes, creating shimmering distortions in the air, a visible exhalation of immense pressure. The walls around you, made of rough-hewn stone and brick, are streaked with soot and condensation, reflecting the fiery glow in shifting, unsettling patterns. Every surface seems to radiate heat, the very air vibrating with the exertion of the monstrous machinery. Figures move here too, but unlike the gardeners, their movements are heavy, methodical. They are stokers, stripped to the waist despite the cold outside, their skin gleaming with sweat, their faces grimed with coal dust. You watch as one man, his muscles straining, repeatedly shovels gleaming black coal into the hungry maw of a furnace. Each shovelful vanishes into the incandescent depths with a fierce roar, sending up a shower of sparks that dance momentarily before being swallowed by the gloom. The rhythmic clang of his shovel against the metal grate is another beat in this industrial symphony. You feel the ground subtly tremble with the churn of unseen pumps and the thrum of immense steam engines, a deep tremor that runs right up your legs. The air tastes metallic, of burnt carbon and hot water, a potent, almost visceral flavor of raw energy being harnessed. It's a place of stark, brutal necessity, utterly devoid of the delicate beauty that flourishes mere feet above. This relentless, clanking, hissing heart of the conservatory is a potent reminder of the invisible labor, the raw power, and the sheer human ingenuity required to sustain such an artificial paradise. The delicate blossoms above exist only because of this fiery, grimy underworld. It makes you consider the hidden foundations of all beauty, the unsung efforts that quietly, relentlessly beat out a rhythm of life for the dreams built upon them. The heat is no longer just oppressive, it's a suffocating blanket that presses in on you from all sides. It clings to your skin, seeping into your clothes until every fiber feels saturated, heavy with the moisture of your own sweat. You're still in the guts of the conservatory, the boiler room, and the air here is thick, almost viscous, with the acrid sense of hot metal, burning coal, and the raw tang of human exertion. The rhythmic asterisk thump-thump hiss-clank asterisk of the machinery is relentless, a visceral percussion that seems to beat in time with your own quickening pulse. Your lungs burn with each shallow breath, tasting the metallic dusty air, feeling the dryness at the back of your throat despite the overwhelming humidity. Sweat stings your eyes, blurring your vision of the glowing furnaces and the steam-shrouded pipes. You wipe your brow with the back of your hand, only to find it immediately slick again, a constant, losing battle against the intense, permeating warmth. The rough fabric of your jacket, once a barrier against the London chill, now feels like a heavy, unwelcome skin. You watch the stokers again, their movements a hypnotic dance of sheer physical labor. Their chests heave, muscles rippling under skin slick with sweat, reflecting the furnace glow. Each shovel of coal into the roaring fire feels like an extension of their own burning energy, their efforts fueling the colossal beasts that line the walls. The air shimmers with heat haze, distorting their forms, making them seem like mythical figures toiling in a subterranean inferno. You can hear their strained grunts, their heavy exhales, a visceral sound of strength pushed to its limit. The very stone walls weep with condensation, the moisture running in dark rivulets, but it offers no relief from the dry, baking heat. The metal walkways are warm beneath your boots, and you can feel the subtle vibrations of the machinery thrumming up through the soles of your feet, a constant reminder of the immense, unseen power at work. It's a place of primal force, where the relentless grind of industry meets the basic human struggle against the elements. This intense, almost unbearable heat, this pervasive sweat, is the true cost of the paradise above. Each exotic bloom, each delicate fern, each sparkling glass pane in the magnificent conservatory is sustained by this hidden inferno, by the tireless, grueling labor of these men. It's a profound contrast. The ethereal beauty thriving in its artificial spring, born from this very real, very raw and unforgiving heat. It makes you feel the true weight of human ingenuity and dedication, the unseen suffering and the quiet, persistent effort required to create and maintain a dream that in its essence is powered by the relentless sweat of human hands. The first sound that assaults you is a sudden, sharp, almost painful crack, like a whip snapping in the biting air. It's followed by a series of smaller crystalline pings, a delicate symphony of cold. You're outside the conservatory again, but the familiar grey gloom of London has deepened into the stark, unforgiving embrace of a truly frigid winter night. The air is brutally cold, sharp and dry, burning in your nostrils with each breath. It smells of ice and frozen earth, a clean, almost sterile scent that offers no comfort. You pull your thick wool scarf up higher until it covers your mouth and nose, but the cold still manages to prickle your exposed skin, making your cheeks ache. Your breath plumes out in thick white clouds, instantly dissolving into the frozen air. The cobblestones beneath your feet are slick with a thin, treacherous glaze of black ice, demanding your full attention with every careful step. The distant sounds of the city are muted, muffled by the intense cold, lending an eerie stillness to the night. Your gaze is drawn upwards, to the immense, intricate ironwork of the conservatory's exterior. It looms against the inky blackness of the sky, a ghostly skeletal framework encrusted with frost, and it's from this vast metallic skeleton that the sounds emanate. The entire structure seems to be alive with the subtle, insidious work of freezing water. You can see it now, a thin, transparent sheath of ice like a second skin clinging to every curve and rivet of the ironwork. Another sharp crack echoes through the stillness, closer this time, and you almost flinch. You watch as a hairline fissure appears in the sheet of ice on a massive girder directly above you, spiderwebbing outwards with alarming speed. It's a testament to the immense, silent power of water as it freezes, expanding, exerting unimaginable pressure on the unyielding metal. You can feel the cold radiating from the iron, a profound, penetrating chill that seems to draw all warmth from the air around it. The metal feels like a giant, frozen beast. The delicate, almost musical pings continue as tiny fragments of ice, loosened by the internal stress, detach themselves and fall silently, invisibly, to shatter on the frozen ground below. It's a relentless, subtle dismantling, a constant battle against the elements that this monumental structure must wage every single night. The contrast between the vibrant, warm paradise within and this frozen, brittle exterior is almost unbearable. Standing here under the unforgiving winter sky, listening to the delicate, yet powerful symphony of ice, you realize the immense, fragile effort it takes to maintain an illusion of eternal summer. This quiet, destructive beauty of ice forming, the persistent battle against the cold, is a stark reminder of nature's relentless power, and the constant, unseen vigilance required to protect even the grandest of dreams from its icy grasp. It makes you feel the fragility of all constructed beauty and the profound, silent strength of the natural world. The brutal, dry cold of the winter night still clings to you, biting at your exposed skin, making your teeth ache. The sharp cracks of ice forming on the ironwork overhead continue, a chilling soundtrack to the frozen world. You pull your collar tight, your gloved fingers numb even through the wool, and push a heavy, frost-rimmed door set into the base of the conservatory's vast glass shell. It groans with the effort of opening, its cold metal protesting, a brief gust of icy wind swirling around you. Then, in an instant, you're enveloped. A colossal wave of humid, almost stifling heat washes over you, a sudden, blessed embrace that makes your entire body sigh with relief. It's a shocking contrast, like stepping from an Arctic tundra directly into a tropical rainforest. The air is thick, moist, heavy with the intoxicating perfumes of exotic blooms and the rich, damp scent of living earth. You inhale deeply, feeling your lungs expand, taking in the sweet, verdant breath of 1,000 hidden plants. Your glasses, if you wore them, would fog instantly. You push the door shut behind you with a muffled thud, sealing out the brutal chill. The clanking of the boiler room, which you can faintly hear beneath your feet, feels like a comforting subterranean heartbeat now, providing this incredible warmth. All around you, the conservatory bursts with an impossible green, a vibrant, lush wilderness. Towering palm fronds arch majestically, their leaves glistening with condensation. Delicate, jewel-toned orchids hang like vibrant chandeliers, their petals soft and velvety to the touch. The very air seems to hum with life, a quiet, palpable energy that pulses through the dense foliage. You stand there for a moment, letting the warmth soak into your chilled bones, feeling the moisture settle on your skin, a comforting dew. The cold, sterile air outside now feels like a distant nightmare. Here, amidst the towering plants, it's a huddled warmth, a meticulously maintained haven, a living, breathing bubble of summer in the heart of a frozen London. You trace a finger along a warm, steamy pane of glass, and through the blurring moisture, you can just make out the icy, desolate landscape beyond, the dark, skeletal trees, the snow-dusted rooftops, the leaden sky. It looks like another world entirely, one kept firmly at bay by this fragile, transparent barrier. This immediate, profound shift from freezing desolation to lush warmth is utterly disorienting, yet deeply comforting. It makes you feel the sheer audacity of this grand vision, the extraordinary human will to defy nature, to build a pocket of paradise against all odds. This moment of transition, stepping from a frozen reality into a humid, vibrant dream, makes you truly appreciate the profound human need for warmth, for beauty, and for the tireless creation of sanctuaries, places where life not only survives but utterly flourishes against an indifferent, icy world. The air in this part of the conservatory is cooler, less humid than the sweltering tropical zones, yet still far removed from the biting winter outside. It carries a delicate, subtle fragrance, a clean, green scent, with just a hint of something faintly powdery and sweet, a graceful perfume that speaks of quiet elegance rather than flamboyant display. You're in a section dedicated to more temperate blooms, where the light is softer, filtering through less dense foliage. Your gaze is drawn to a single camellia bush, its glossy, dark green leaves forming a perfect backdrop for the magnificent flower it bears. It's a flawless bloom, its petals are pristine white, so pure they almost glow against the dark foliage. The flower itself is perfectly formed, its layers of petals arranged with an almost architectural precision, each one overlapping the next in a silent, symmetrical dance. You notice a single, perfectly formed droplet of water clinging to one of the outermost petals, shimmering like a tiny jewel. You lean closer, captivated by its quiet beauty. It doesn't scream for attention like the orchids. Instead, it holds a serene, almost stoic elegance. You reach out, your finger hovering just above the bloom, not daring to disturb its perfection. The petals look incredibly soft, like cool, waxy silk, an almost artificial beauty that belies its living nature. It's a flower of profound symbolism, isn't it? Floriography, the language of flowers, was so vital in the Victorian era, allowing unspoken sentiments to be conveyed. A white camellia in this silent language often meant adoration, perfection, or you are adorable. You imagine a secret message, a quiet declaration whispered not with words, but with the silent offering of this single, perfect bloom. Perhaps it was meant for someone specific, a subtle communication across a crowded room, a delicate sentiment shared without a single sound. The air around it feels charged with unspoken meaning, a story waiting to be deciphered, a hidden emotion expressed through the mute eloquence of petals. This camellia, so outwardly serene, holds a deeper human resonance. It makes you feel the unspoken power of beauty, its capacity to carry profound messages, to communicate emotions that words sometimes cannot. In its quiet perfection, it speaks of adoration, of profound admiration, a silent yet potent declaration in a world often too loud to hear such delicate whispers. It reminds you that sometimes the most powerful stories are told not with a roar, but with a single, perfect, and deeply meaningful bloom. The air in this gentler part of the conservatory still carries the faint, sweet scent of the camellia, a quiet contrast to the deeper, richer perfume that now catches your attention. It's the unmistakable fragrance of a rose, classic, rich, and utterly captivating, a blend of honeyed sweetness and a subtle green sharpness. It draws you in, a powerful, timeless aroma that feels both familiar and deeply romantic. You move towards the source of the scent, through carefully arranged temperate plants until you see it. It's a magnificent rose bush, meticulously trained to climb an elegant trellis. Its leaves are a deep, lustrous green, and amidst them several blooms, each one a testament to cultivation. Your eyes are immediately drawn to a single perfect crimson rose, its petals unfurling in exquisite layers, a masterpiece of natural design. It seems to pulse with a vibrant, almost velvety intensity, its color so deep it almost absorbs the light. You lean closer, inhaling the potent fragrance, feeling its delicate softness, imagining the smooth, yielding texture of its petals. It represents so much, doesn't it? Love, beauty, passion, all embodied in this one perfect flower. It's a symbol of profound emotion, often gifted with the purest of intentions, a silent declaration of deep affection. But as you reach out, instinctively drawn to its alluring beauty, your gaze dips a fraction lower towards the stem. And there it is, the truth. Large, formidable thorns, sharp as daggers, emerge from the woody stem, glinting subtly in the diffused light. They are a stark, uncompromising contrast to the velvety softness of the bloom, a silent warning nestled amongst the elegant leaves. Each thorn is perfectly formed, pointed, and clearly capable of inflicting a painful prick. You hesitate, your fingers pausing inches from the stem. The thorns are a formidable defense, an unspoken truth about the price of beauty, a reminder that even the most exquisite love can come with unexpected sharpness. You imagine the pain of a careless touch, the sudden sting, the droplet of blood that might well up, a tiny crimson counterpoint to the rose's passionate hue. The perfect facade of the bloom is protected by this very real, very physical defense. This beautiful rose, so evocative of romance and perfection, holds a profound duality. It makes you feel the universal truth that beauty often carries its own form of protection, that even the most cherished sentiments can hold an edge of potential pain. It's a silent, powerful reflection on the complexities of life itself, the exquisite allure, the hidden vulnerabilities, and the necessary defenses we all cultivate to survive and thrive. And it reminds you that sometimes the most honest truth is found not in the sweet scent or the soft petals, but in the sharp, undeniable prick of a thorn. The sweet, heavy perfume of exotic blooms and damp earth still clings to the air around you, a comforting, familiar presence in the vast, warm expanse of the conservatory. The gentle murmur of the central fountain provides a soft background hum, and the light, filtered through thousands of glass panes, paints the lush foliage in a perpetual, ethereal green. You're strolling leisurely along one of the winding paths, perhaps admiring a particularly flamboyant orchid, or tracing the delicate veins of an unfamiliar fern, completely enveloped by this artificial summer. Then without warning it hits you. A sudden sharp gust of air, undeniably cold, snakes its way around your ankles, then swirls upwards, prickling the fine hairs on your arms. It's an anomaly, a stark, unwelcome intruder in this carefully cultivated warmth. The sensation is immediate and jarring, a stark contrast to the humid, consistent heat that has permeated every pore of your skin. You shiver, a quick involuntary spasm that runs through your entire body, and a wave of goosebumps ripples across your skin, defying the otherwise balmy atmosphere. You pause, drawing your breath in sharply, the sudden chill making the air feel thinner, colder in your lungs. The familiar, rich scent of the plant seems to momentarily recede, replaced by a phantom whisper of outside cold, a faint, metallic tang that hints at the freezing winter world beyond the glass. You turn your head, scanning the immediate vicinity, trying to pinpoint the source of this icy intrusion. A nearby cluster of delicate fern fronds, usually perfectly still in the languid air, suddenly trembles, rustling softly with an agitated sound, a nervous whisper of dry leaves. Higher up, where giant palm fronds stretch towards the soaring glass roof, you see a subtle shimmy, a gentle, rhythmic sway that suggests an unseen current. The condensation on a large glass pane directly opposite you, usually a static, shimmering veil, now visibly ripples, the rivulets of moisture momentarily distorted, flowing faster, almost dancing to the tune of the invisible draft. You move closer to the affected pane, reaching out a hesitant hand. The glass itself is cool to the touch, but just above it, where the iron frame meets the edge of the pane, you feel it distinctly. A narrow, almost imperceptible fissure, a tiny gap where the cold outside world is silently, relentlessly bleeding into the sanctuary within. It's a minute flaw in the grand design, a testament to the constant battle waged against the elements. The draft is subtle yet persistent, a relentless finger of ice probing at the edges of this man-made paradise. You glance around, half expecting to see a gardener rushing to seal the breach, or perhaps another visitor reacting to the sudden drop in temperature. But no one else seems to notice. The ladies still take their tea in a distant corner, their whispers carried away by the fountain. The gardener continues his quiet work, lost in his world of soil and roots. This chilling intrusion, this subtle hint of the outside, seems to be a secret shared only with you, and perhaps with the shivering plants themselves. It makes you realize the profound fragility of this glass dream, the constant vigilance required to maintain such an artificial balance. Even in the most meticulously constructed havens, the wild world finds its way in, a reminder that perfect control is always an illusion. This icy draft, this silent breath of the outside, is a stark testament to the persistent vulnerability of beauty and the unyielding power of nature to always push back against our grandest designs, reminding us that even paradise has its tiny, unseen cracks. The air around you is still, thick with a cold that feels almost predatory. You're inside the great conservatory, but it's not the vibrant, humid paradise you once knew. No, the warmth has drained away, leaving behind a profound, unsettling chill that seeps into your very bones. And with the cold, a pervasive silence has fallen, not the gentle hush of quiet contemplation, but a heavy, mournful stillness, broken only by the distant, rhythmic creak of the glasshouse structure expanding and contracting in the frigid night. The usual intoxicating perfumes of exotic blooms are gone, replaced by a faint, sickly sweet scent of decay, a ghost of past vitality. It's the smell of wilting, of life slowly succumbing to an unnatural cold. The air feels heavy, almost solid with this quiet dread. You walk slowly through the aisles, your footsteps echoing unnaturally on the cold, damp stone paths. Your breath mists in front of you, a stark white cloud against the dim, almost non-existent light that struggles to penetrate the soot-stained glass roof. Moonlight filtered through the dirty panes casts long, distorted shadows of skeletal ironwork and drooping plants, making the familiar space feel alien, haunted. Your gaze falls upon a cluster of exotic orchids, once a riot of vibrant colors. Now their delicate petals are limp, drooping, their once proud forms shrunken and bruised. The rich fuchsia and gold have faded to a dull, sickly grey purple, the edges of the petals curled and brittle. You reach out, your finger brushing against a leaf that just hours ago was firm and waxy. Now it feels soft, almost papery, utterly devoid of its vibrant life. It's a profound, visual testament to a sudden catastrophic change. The towering palm fronds, usually so majestic, now hang heavy and still, their edges beginning to curl, losing their vibrant sheen. You can almost feel the chill penetrating their inner fibers, slowly, relentlessly draining their life force. The air around them is still, devoid of the usual hum of unseen insects or the gentle rustle of flourishing leaves. It's a silence that speaks of profound loss, a stillness that echoes with the absence of life. This entire glass paradise, once a bastion of warmth and exotic beauty, now stands as a monument to its own vulnerability, its fragility exposed by the relentless grip of winter. The wilting plants are not merely dying, they are silently protesting, a poignant, unspoken lament for the tropical sun they crave. Standing here in the cold, silent heart of this once vibrant dream, you feel the profound weight of its suffering. This unnerving silence, this visible wilting, is a stark reminder of how quickly even the most carefully constructed utopias can succumb to the raw, unyielding power of nature's indifference. It makes you feel the fragility of all life, the preciousness of warmth, and the silent, heartbreaking cost of trying to contain and control a piece of the wild, a dream slowly fading in the icy grip of midnight. The first thing that reaches you is the sound, a slow, irregular asterisk drip. Drip, drip. It's not the cheerful splashing of a fountain nor the gentle patter of rain. No, this is a solitary, persistent sound, a cold, melancholy rhythm that seems to echo through the vast, quiet space of the conservatory. It speaks of time passing, of erosion, of something slowly giving way. The air, though still humid, carries a faint, musty tang now, a subtle smell of damp earth gone stagnant, replacing the vibrant perfumes you once knew. You're walking through a section of the conservatory that feels different. The light here is dimmer, filtered through grimy, streaked glass panes that weep with condensation, but not the healthy kind. The iron framework, once gleaming with fresh paint, now shows streaks of rust, dark orange veins creeping across its intricate curves, a silent testament to the relentless march of moisture and time. Puddles, still and unmoving, collect on the uneven flagstones, reflecting the muted, sickly light. Your gaze follows the sound drawn upwards. From a hairline crack in one of the overhead panes, high up near the apex of the structure, a single clear drop of water swells, glistens, then falls. It travels a surprisingly long way, gaining momentum, before striking a broad, waxy leaf below with a soft, distinct asterisk plink. The sound is precise, almost musical, yet unsettling in its regularity. Another drop gathers, another fall, drip, drip, drip. You reach out and touch the leaf where the drops land. It's cold and slick, not vibrant, and the small indentation where each drop strikes is visible, a tiny bruise on its surface. The constant impact has left its mark, slowly wearing away at the plant, not nourishing it, but eroding it, a patient, subtle form of destruction. You can almost feel the cold seep from the leaf into your fingertips, a stark contrast to the warmth you once sought here. Below, the earth where the water eventually falls is not rich and dark, but a muddy, compacted patch stripped bare of any delicate growth by the relentless assault. It's a focal point of decay, a small yet potent reminder of the fragility of this glass dream. The very structure, designed to protect, is now subtly contributing to its slow undoing, a silent betrayal of its original purpose. This persistent, melancholy drip isn't just water. It's the sound of inevitable entropy, a quiet, insistent ticking of time within the grand illusion. It makes you feel the profound yet often overlooked power of small, constant forces, how something as seemingly innocuous as a single drop of water over time can contribute to the slow, relentless narrative of decay, transforming even the most magnificent creations back to earth. It's a quiet testament to the impermanence of all things, even dreams built of iron and glass. The first thing that assaults you is the smell, a pervasive, heavy cloak of decay. It's a profound, earthy mustiness, thick with the scent of rotting wood and neglected, waterlogged soil. It clings to your clothes, seeps into your hair, a cold, cloying aroma that speaks of time and abandonment, utterly devoid of the vibrant perfumes that once filled these halls. You're in a section of the conservatory that feels utterly forgotten, far removed from the public eye. The air here is damp and chill, holding none of the regulated warmth, a dampness that feels almost sickly. You navigate through overgrown paths where weeds, hardy and defiant, push up through cracks in the flagstones. Twisted, skeletal forms of once magnificent plants loom around you, their leaves shriveled to brown parchment, their stems brittle and snapping with a dry whisper if you brush against them. The glass panes overhead are not merely dirty, many are cracked, some entirely missing, leaving gaping holes where cold, damp air seeps in, mixing with the internal exhalations of slow rot. Your gaze falls upon a cluster of old wooden benches, once elegant, now crumbling. The wood is dark, soft and spongy to the touch, visibly warped and swollen with moisture. Patches of green mold like velvet sores creep across its surface, a silent, persistent consuming force. You press a finger gently into the pulpy fiber, feeling the unyielding dampness, the structural integrity utterly compromised. The smell intensifies here, a potent breath of decomposition, a reminder that even the most robust materials eventually surrender to the elements. Beneath the benches, the earth is a sodden, dark mass, matted with fallen, decaying leaves and the tangled, dead roots of plants that never thrived. It's neglected earth, devoid of care, slowly reclaiming the space. You reach down, your fingers sinking into the cool, slimy soil. It's heavy, saturated, giving way without resistance, a stark contrast to the rich, cultivated soil the gardener once tended with such care. There's a faint, almost imperceptible squelch as you pull your hand back, leaving a residue of cold, clinging mud. This isn't merely a slow decline, it's an active transformation, a return to the wild but not a vibrant one. It's a melancholy regression, where the carefully curated dream slowly surrenders to the relentless, patient forces of nature, but without the cycle of renewal. This profound sense of decay, of what was once a vibrant paradise slowly succumbing to neglect, is deeply unsettling. It makes you feel the sheer fragility of all human constructs, the fleeting nature of our grandest aspirations, and the undeniable truth that without constant care and vigilance, even the most magnificent dreams built of iron and glass will inevitably return to dust, to rot, and to the musty, indifferent earth from which they briefly sprung. The soft, humid air of the conservatory still cradles you, thick with the scent of damp earth and distant, sweet blossoms. You're perhaps tracing the intricate pattern of veins on a broad, waxy leaf, completely immersed in the artificial summer within this glass palace. The gentle, rhythmic gurgle of the central fountain is a constant, soothing backdrop, lulling you into a sense of perfect, protected calm. Then it happens, a sudden, terrifying asterisk crash. It's not just a sound. It's an explosion of noise, sharp and violent, directly overhead. It's followed instantly by the sickening asterisk shatter of glass, a cascade of crystalline fragments raining down, glinting wickedly in the filtered light. Your heart leaps into your throat, a visceral jolt that makes you flinch violently, a choked gasp escaping your lips. You instinctively throw an arm up to shield your face, your muscles tensing, ready for impact. A shower of ice shards, small and jagged, pelts the ground around you, bouncing off leaves with a delicate, yet alarming asterisk tink, tink asterisk. You hear a heavier asterisk thud as one chunk strikes a robust palm frond, tearing a ragged hole through its waxy surface. A sudden icy draft, sharp and raw, plunges into the humid air, chasing away the warmth, causing a visible shimmer as the hot and cold air collide. The sweet floral scents are instantly overwhelmed by the clean metallic tang of cold, damp air and shattered glass. You lower your arms slowly, your eyes wide, scanning the chaos above. High in the soaring glass ceiling, a gaping, jagged hole now scars the perfect expanse, like a wound in the sky. Through it, you see the tumultuous, bruised grey of the winter sky, and briefly, a glimpse of another enormous, fast-moving hailstone plummeting towards the earth, a silent, white missile. The wind, now unfettered, howls softly through the breach, a mournful lament. A few other visitors, startled by the sudden violence, look up, their faces etched with shock and a fleeting fear. A distant shout, muffled by the new chill, echoes from another part of the conservatory. The delicate glass dream, painstakingly constructed, is suddenly, brutally vulnerable. The artificial paradise for a terrifying moment is exposed to the raw, untamed fury of the outside world. Standing there amidst the glittering debris and the sudden chill, you feel the profound fragility of all human endeavor, of any attempt to perfectly control or contain nature. This single violent crash, this sudden intrusion of the wild, is a stark reminder that even the grandest, most beautiful of our creations are ultimately at the mercy of forces far greater than ourselves. It makes you confront the fleeting illusion of safety and the sudden, humbling reality that true power often resides in the unpredictable, untamed heart of the world. The air around you is thick with the scent of damp earth and something distinctly metallic, a cold, earthy tang that suggests deep neglect. The earlier crash of hail has left its mark, and now a new chill permeates this corner of the conservatory. You're navigating through a section that feels utterly abandoned, far from the manicured paths and vibrant blooms. Broken glass crunches underfoot, a sharp, disquieting sound that echoes in the hushed gloom. Your gaze falls upon the floor beneath your worn boots. Once, this would have been an elegant stretch of intricate Victorian tiles, a mosaic of geometric patterns in faded blues, greens, and creams, laid with meticulous precision. Now, however, the pattern is fractured, invaded. Hairline cracks spiderweb across the glazed surfaces, filled with dark grime and stubborn patches of green algae, slick and cool to the touch. The once-proud tiles are visibly uplifted in places, uneven, their precise lines buckled and broken, and from these fissures, from the very heart of the crumbling mortar, tenacious green shoots erupt. Weeds. Not the delicate ferns or exotic orchids cultivated here, but rough, wild invaders. Tiny, bristly grasses push upwards, their blades a defiant, vibrant green against the dull ceramic. Broadleaf dandelions, their edges serrated and tough, sprout from impossible cracks, their roots delving deep, quietly dismantling the engineered perfection from within. You can almost hear the soft, insistent asterisk scrape asterisk of their roots against the tile as they relentlessly push for light and space. You bend down, your fingers brushing against a particularly sturdy clump of clover, its leaves coarse and damp. You try to pull it, but its hold is firm, its roots deeply entrenched in the broken mosaic. The cold, damp earth packed around its base feels dense and unyielding, a testament to its struggle for survival. There's a quiet power in its persistence, a silent defiance against the grand, elegant order that once dominated this space. Each tiny leaf, each stubborn stem, represents a victory for the wild, an assertion of nature's relentless will. The geometric precision of the tiled floor, a symbol of human order and control, is slowly, inevitably being consumed by this untamed, organic chaos. The vibrant green of the weeds is not the cultivated beauty of the conservatory, but the raw, uninvited vigor of life finding a way, regardless of our grandest designs. It makes you feel the profound, yet often overlooked, power of resilience, the patient, inexorable force of nature slowly reclaiming what was once its own. This intricate floor, once a stage for human elegance, is now a silent battleground, a potent reminder that our most elaborate creations are always temporary, and that life in its wildest, most persistent forms will always eventually find a way to break through, even against the cold, hard ambition of glass and iron. The first thing that catches you, subtle yet insistent, is a phantom scent, a delicate, almost ethereal perfume that cuts through the heavy, musty air of decay. It's sweet, yes, but with a green, almost metallic edge, a fragile echo of vibrant life amidst overwhelming stillness. You're deep within the derelict conservatory now, a place where the glass is shattered, the ironwork rusted to skeletal remains, and the once lush paths are swallowed by encroaching weeds and crumbling stone. The air here is cold and damp, thick with the smell of wet earth and slow rot, but this faint fragrance is a whisper from a bygone era, an anomaly that sparks an immediate, profound curiosity. You navigate carefully, your worn boots crunching on shards of glass and loose rubble that litter the once pristine tiled floor. Moonlight, fractured through gaping holes in the ceiling, casts an eerie, shifting glow, highlighting grotesque shadows of dying plants. The fountain, once a lively gurgle, is a silent, moss-choked basin, its dry stone echoing with the occasional disquieting creak of the groaning structure. The silence is profound, broken only by your own breath and the distant, unsettling sough of the wind whistling through broken panes. The scent, however, grows faintly stronger, leading you deeper into what was once a humid, dedicated hothouse for orchids. Here, the ruins are more pronounced. Twisted, broken trellises hang precariously, draped with dry, skeletal vines. Empty, overturned pots lie shattered like broken dreams on the damp earth. Yet the perfume persists, a ghostly, elusive presence, a challenge to your senses. You reach a particularly dark, overgrown corner where a few ancient, gnarled branches, dead and brittle, cling to a crumbling wall. And then you see it, or rather you almost don't. Clinging to the decaying bark of one of the branches, nearly translucent, is what remains of a ghost orchid. It's barely there, a cluster of thin, almost root-like stems, a pale, almost spectral green, so delicate it seems to be woven from mist itself. There are no leaves, just this intricate, fragile network, and from it, a single, tiny, luminous white bloom, so frail it appears to be suspended in the air. Its petals are like spun sugar, translucent, barely visible in the gloom. You lean in, your breath held, and the delicate, sweet scent you've been chasing intensifies, washing over you with a quiet, heartbreaking beauty. It's the unique perfume of the ghost orchid, a scent of exquisite purity and fragility clinging to the dying air. You reach out, your finger hovering inches from the translucent petal, afraid that even your touch might shatter its ephemeral existence. It's a miracle, a defiant whisper of life refusing to be silenced, even as the world around it crumbles. This faint, exquisite scent, this unexpected bloom amidst the desolation, is a poignant testament to the persistence of life, the stubborn refusal of beauty to be entirely vanquished. It makes you feel the profound resilience of nature, its quiet determination to endure, to bloom even in ruin, a silent, fragile echo of a dream that, though broken, still manages to breathe. And it makes you wonder about the unseen forces that nurture such delicate, defiant beauty against all odds. The first thing that strikes you stark against the lingering cold is the smell of forgotten damp and slow decay, but now beneath it a faint, almost metallic tang of something new, something like fresh rain on old stone, mixed with the subtle, clean scent of your own modern clothing. You're navigating the skeletal remains of the Grand Conservatory, its glass roof a shattered sieve to the elements, its iron ribs rusted to a deep, earthy red. Moonlight, cold and unforgiving, spills through the broken panes, carving stark patterns of light and shadow across the debris-strewn floor. Your modern boots crunch softly on scattered shards of glass and crumbling plaster, a sound that feels distinctly out of place in this mausoleum of Victorian ambition. The air here is sharp, carrying the ghost of winter's bite, despite the distant thrum of the city beyond the broken walls. You pull your contemporary jacket tighter, feeling its synthetic fabric warm against your skin, a stark contrast to the heavy wool and starched linen of the past. You step over a tangle of rusted pipes, once arteries of warmth, now cold and silent. Your gaze falls on a large puddle, reflecting the fractured moonlight like a shattered mirror. The water is still, dark and deep, cradling fragments of broken glass and fallen leaves. You lean closer, your breath pluming softly in the chill air, and see your own reflection gazing back at you, your face framed by modern hair, your eyes holding the undeniable curiosity of the present. But then, as you shift, a trick of the light, a ripple in the water, seems to distort your image. For a fleeting moment, your reflection blurs, stretches, and then, overlaid, almost translucent within your own form, you glimpse another face. It's an older visage, a softer, perhaps more formal silhouette, a ghost of a high collar, a flicker of dark, intense eyes. It's a Victorian shadow, a phantom presence from another time observing you from the depths of the water, a silent, almost melancholic gaze that seems to understand the weight of this ruined place. The illusion lasts only a breath, a subtle shift in the water, and then it's gone, replaced once more by your clear, contemporary reflection. Yet the feeling lingers, a profound sense of two worlds, two times, momentarily touching, their narratives interwoven in this decaying space. The cold, damp air now feels charged with a deeper, more poignant resonance. Standing here, your modern silhouette cast against the remnants of a bygone era, you realize how profoundly the past shapes the present, how its echoes continue to resonate through the silent corridors of time. This fleeting overlap, this momentary glimpse of a Victorian shadow within your own reflection, is a powerful reminder that history isn't just a collection of facts in books. It's a living presence, constantly overlapping with our own, reminding us of the dreams, the efforts, and the quiet lives that paved the way for the world we inhabit today, always just beneath the surface, waiting for a moment to be seen. The crisp, clean scent of fresh paint, mingled with the lingering chill of the morning, is the first thing that greets you. It's a smell of renewal, sharp and invigorating, utterly distinct from the heavy mustiness of decay or the acrid tang of coal smoke that once defined this place. You're standing beneath the newly resurrected shell of the conservatory, and the air here is noticeably different, still cool, but devoid of the damp, pervasive cold, filled instead with the promise of emerging warmth. You step onto a section of freshly laid flagstones, smooth and even beneath your feet, a satisfying solidity replacing the uneven, crumbling paths. Above you, the morning sun, finally breaking through the persistent London clouds, strikes the soaring glass roof, igniting it. No longer a shattered sieve, the thousands of newly installed panes gleam with an almost blinding brilliance, refracting the light into 1,000 dancing prisms. Each pane is meticulously clean, transparent, allowing the bright, clear light to flood the vast interior with a clarity you haven't seen before. Your gaze travels upwards, following the intricate network of ironwork. It is utterly transformed. No longer a rusted, skeletal remains, the magnificent framework now gleams with a deep, lustrous black, meticulously recoated in fresh paint. Each rivet, each elegant curve and arch is sharp and defined, casting precise, architectural shadows that move with the slow ascension of the sun. The grand scale is reasserted, but with a new vitality, a renewed strength. You reach out a hand, touching a cool, smooth column, feeling the resilience of the solid metal, devoid of any rust or blemish. It feels robust, permanent, a defiant stand against the ravages of time and neglect. From somewhere above, you hear the distant, rhythmic tap of a hammer, precise and controlled, the quiet hum of an unseen pump, and the soft, almost musical scrape of a brush. Sounds of diligent work, of careful craftsmanship, a gentle symphony of construction that speaks of hope and painstaking effort. The ghost of icy drafts is gone, replaced by a subtle, emerging warmth radiating from beneath the newly restored heating pipes, a promise of the tropical microclimate that will soon return. This isn't just a repaired building. It's a living testament to human resilience, to the unwavering belief in beauty and purpose. This gleam of restored ironwork catching the morning sun makes you feel the profound joy of rebirth, the satisfaction of overcoming adversity, and the enduring power of human will to bring dreams back from ruin, transforming cold neglect into a vibrant, shimmering vision once more. It's a powerful reflection on our capacity to mend, to rebuild, and to find light even after the longest shadows. The first thing that greets you is a deep, full breath of air, sweet, earthy, and undeniably alive asterisk. It's the rich, warm scent of damp, cultivated soil, mingled with the fresh, green fragrance of new growth, and a faint, hopeful whisper of distant blossoms. It's a familiar aroma, yet somehow more potent, more vibrant than you remember, carrying with it the undeniable promise of a new beginning. You inhale deeply, feeling the humid air fill your lungs, banishing any lingering chill. You're back inside the Grand Conservatory, but it's utterly transformed. No longer a decaying ruin nor a bustling Victorian spectacle, this is a sanctuary reborn. The light streaming through thousands of perfectly clean, unbroken glass panes is brilliant and clear, painting the entire interior in a spectrum of vibrant, healthy greens. The intricate ironwork gleams, restored to its original lustrous black, a framework of strength and renewed purpose. The air is warm, consistently humid, a perfectly regulated microclimate, a testament to meticulous care and relentless effort. Your boots tread softly on newly laid stone paths, no longer cracked and overgrown, but smooth and pristine. Around you, life bursts forth in a quiet explosion of green. Delicate ferns, their fronds a lush emerald, unfurl with slow, deliberate grace. Young palms stretch towards the soaring ceiling, their leaves unblemished and vibrant. Tiny, colorful seedlings push bravely from dark, rich soil, each one a testament to patient nurturing. The faint, persistent sound of water trickling from a revitalized fountain provides a gentle, soothing backdrop, a delicate murmur of life returning. You reach out, touching a waxy leaf of a new philodendron. It feels firm, cool, and perfectly hydrated, a profound contrast to the wilting plants of memory. There's a quiet hum of unseen life here, a gentle buzz of contentment, a sense of a world carefully brought back from the brink, thriving once more under its protective glass dome. The persistent, almost miraculous return of this life, this familiar breath of nature, feels like a bridge, connecting the ambition of the past with the vitality of the present. Standing here, enveloped by this restored paradise, you feel a profound sense of continuity, a quiet triumph. This isn't merely a rebuilding, it's a reaffirmation. This first new breath of life, this familiar scent blossoming for a new century, is a powerful reminder that while structures may crumble and dreams may fade, the human spirit's desire to create beauty, to nurture life, and to find solace in connection with nature is an enduring force. It shows that hope, like a resilient seed, can always find a way to take root, even in the most neglected of soils, and eventually flourish anew.